Hello, this is Robbie from Head in the Cloud Development, here to give you a demonstration of our NetSuite Record Speed Optimizer. This video is being recorded in December 2023 using version 1.1.1 of our module on NetSuite version 2023.2. So, the purpose of this Suite app is very simple. How many times has someone complained to you about how long it takes a sales order to load in NetSuite? Or why does it take this saved search so long to load every morning? Now, if you know anything about me or my company, it is obvious that I think that NetSuite is by far the greatest system in the world. I love it to death, and I really can't imagine why anyone would choose to run their business on any other platform. That being said, the unfortunate truth is that many users do have daily performance problems with NetSuite, and the goal of this module is to help alleviate those problems as much as possible. Now let's get one thing straight. There's no secret voodoo to what we're doing here. This module will not magically fix all your NetSuite performance problems. Our primary aim here is to address the first-time load issues that cause NetSuite records to occasionally load very slowly. This solution is based on advice provided by the NetSuite support database performance experts that get involved in the most challenging speed-related support cases. Really what we've done here is to automate some intelligent ways of preloading and caching commonly used areas of NetSuite, such as customers and transactions. The scripts in this module run via a dashboard portlet for users in the regular NetSuite user interface and also server-side for backend scripts and integrations. The module uses 100% native NetSuite features. There's no need to switch apps or ever leave the security of netsuite.com. Without further delay, I'll show you a live demonstration now. So, I've just logged into my NetSuite account, and with this module installed, the first thing we'll see is that right on my home dashboard is this Speed Optimizer portlet. You'll notice that it has a bunch of things listed here, along with loading times. For example, we see the slowest things that loaded in my account were customers and invoices. They initially took this much time to load, so customers took 3.3 seconds, and then our optimized loading time came down to 1.1 seconds. And to be honest, this demo account that I'm in isn't half as slow as many of the real NetSuite accounts we see. I'll bet things that are even slower than this in your NetSuite account. So the idea is, now that the portlet has loaded these things, when I actually go to them as a user, it should be much faster. So let's try it. If I go to a customer record in the menu, yeah, it loaded pretty much instantly. We see the server loading time was only half a second here now. We can also access the records right from these links. So far, so good. And I'll mention that you don't even need to have this portlet expanded like this for it to work. You can just leave it collapsed and running in the background whenever you're on your home screen. So now, what if these are not the objects that are slow in your account? Let me show you how easy it is to configure this module. Let's go to Lists, Custom, Speed Optimizer Record. So these are the records that control which records, reports, and searches the optimizer runs on. The first 6 of these come with the module. The last 2 records I've added on my own. If any of these aren't slow in your account, feel free to inactivate them by just checking this inactive checkbox and then click Submit. So let's take a look at this invoice save record that I've added. So one of the new features we've added recently is the caching of record save operations. As you can see here on the Daily Summary tab, caching cuts off a significant amount of the time it takes to load and save this record. There's just one thing to be careful with here. Here we set a specific record that we save. The idea is that if we cache the saving of this invoice, it helps warm up the NetSuite server processes for processing other invoices. But if you're doing this, it is important for you to make sure that there aren't any side effects in your instance of NetSuite of saving this record. For example, if every time this invoice got saved, it emailed the customer, we obviously wouldn't want that happening daily. So let's go back and let me show you how to add your own records. We'll click the New Speed Optimizer Record button here. And let's say it's opportunities that are really slow in my account. So I'm going to choose Record Load as the type. And then in Select Record Type, I'm just going to type in Opportunity. And notice how when I select that, everything else autofills here for me. Now we can restrict this record to only run for certain employees, and we'll also be adding restrictions for departments and subsidiaries soon. But right now I'm just going to leave it running for everyone. So I'm just going to save this. And then if I go back to my home screen, I should see this record load on the optimizer now as well. Yep, here it is. It came from 1.1 second down to about 700 milliseconds. Okay, let's do one more. Let's say I have a big transaction search that I use several times a day and I want to cache it. So for type, I'm going to select Save Search. In my Select Save Search, I'm going to select Big Transaction Search. And again, that's all I need to do. I'll just click Save. And if I reload this again, we can see that caching the search brought it down to about 1/10 of the loading time. That's pretty good. Okay, let's do one last one. What's even slower in NetSuite than transactions? Yep, you guessed it. Custom forms. Let's say we're going through a sales order form change process in the company and we're making daily edits to this sales order form. That can be very painful with how long it takes them to load for the first time. So to do this, we're going to use a custom URL to cache. So I'm going to copy the form link here. And here for the type, I'm going to choose custom URL. And then in the identifier, I just paste in the form URL. We're going to name the record sales order custom form. And let's save this. And let's check the results here. Okay, I've seen much worse than that in real life. It looks like our custom form took 6 seconds to load initially, and it came down to 1.1 seconds. And let's try it out here. If I go to the form now, yeah, it loaded in 1.1 second. So the numbers don't lie. Okay, enough of this portlet. Let's talk about performance numbers. What kind of performance improvements do we typically see with this module? Well, again, the data doesn't lie, so let's look at this invoice speed optimizer record, for example. So we actually record every single loading time here on the loading times record. And to make it more digestible, we have the daily summaries that do a roll-up of each day here. So as you can see, I've had this module running for a couple of weeks in this account. And we pretty consistently see from the initial to the optimized loading time that it's cut off at least half of it. Here it came from 7.7 seconds down to 2.7, here from 5 down to 1.6. So it's usually cut off at least half of the loading time. So the bottom line is, if you're curious about how effective this module is in your own account, just take a look at this Daily Summaries tab and hopefully the results will be very clear to you. Okay, so the portlet is really just part one of this. But if you're not a very technical user, you can probably skip to the last few minutes of the video, where I'll demonstrate how to load this module into your own NetSuite account. But for those of us that do care about scripting, let's go to Customization, Scripting Scripts. And I filtered it to Scheduled. Let's view this HITC pre-caching scheduled script. So by default, this script deployment runs very early in the morning and repeats every couple of hours to keep the server warmed up. So here in my account, it ran at 1:33 a.m. And I'll just walk you through some of the execution logs here. We see again that it loaded basically the same things, customer records, invoices, sales orders, quotes. And now let's look at some of the loading times. So what this script does is a couple of things. It initializes a record to warm that process up, and then it just runs a search on this record type and loads the first 5 results that it finds. We don't do any saving here, so nothing changes in the database, but we're just initializing and loading records to warm up the server. So what we should see is that the first record load takes longer, and then all the subsequent ones are much faster. That's the whole goal of the module, right? So looking at a customer, for example, we started loading the first one at 23 seconds past the minute, and it actually finished in the same second. So customers actually loaded pretty darn fast here. That's okay, let's look at invoices. We started loading an invoice at 24 seconds. It finished at 29 seconds, so it took about 5 seconds to load the first one. The second one, look, only took about a second. Third one, less than a second. Yeah, so the rest of them took about a second or less. And that's really it. You can see clearly what a big difference having this module in place makes to the user experience in NetSuite. So before we conclude, I'm going to quickly show you how easy it is for you to try this module in your own NetSuite account. I'm switching to a new NetSuite account here where I don't yet have this bundle installed. So to install it, we'll go to Customization, Suite Bundler, Search and Install Bundles. I'll just type in Head in the Cloud. We have a lot of bundles, so let's look for Speed. Here it is, Speed Optimizer, bundle 500473. So we just click on the bundle here, and click the blue Install button. Now there's a user agreement here, but I'll tell you that you're not committing to pay for anything here. The bundle will simply stop working after 30 days if you don't have a paid license, so don't be too afraid of it. But of course, read it. So this bundle installation usually takes a few minutes, so I'll pause here and I'll come back in a couple of minutes when it's finished. Okay, so the bundle finished installing. So if I go back to my home screen, now I can set up my portlet here. So if we click on Personalize and then add a custom portlet, that's what this is here. So then click Setup here. And for the source, just choose the HITC pre-caching portlet. When you do that, you should see what we just saw in the other account where it starts loading the objects that come with the module. And then from here you can go to Lists, Custom, Speed Optimizer Record to create any of your own records. And this concludes our demo of the Head in the Cloud NetSuite Speed Optimizer module. Please get in touch with us if you have any product feedback or if you're interested in purchasing this module. You can email us at gurus@headintheclouddev.com or contact us through our website at www.headintheclouddev.com. Thank you for watching. We'll see you at SuiteWorld.